Welcome to Culinary Undertaking. Today, I'm going to show you how to make darn banana peels. Well, today, I'm going to show you how to make banana bread. That way you don't run into these loose peels all over your kitchen. Okay, for today's recipe for this banana bread, I've made it a whole bunch of times. It's really good. There's quite a few ingredients, but I'm sure all this stuff you already have in your house, so it's going to be easy to do. I'll show you how to do it. And we're going to need some sugar, a stick of butter. We're going to need 3 bananas. There's one already in the bowl. And you want your bananas, and this is already falling apart. You want them to have nice bruising. You want them to be old, kind of old mushy bananas. You don't want new ones. So 3 bananas. I've got some chocolate chips, I've got some flour, I've got a couple of eggs, I've got a little splash of milk in here, I've got vanilla, I've got baking powder, baking soda, salt, and an ingredient that I'm adding to this recipe that I like a lot in here is Chinese 5-spice. If you've never used it, it's really good. You can either go out and get some. If you don't have any and you don't want to go get any, you can always add a little cinnamon to this, but this stuff's really good. So let me show you how we do it. And the person I got this recipe off of, admittedly, he stole it from another chef person who stole it from a celebrity. So I don't know where it originated, but it's really good and it's easy, and I'll show you how. Now this is the first video I'm making without my camera woman, so we'll have to see how this goes. I'll do my best, but zooming is gonna be limited, but we'll make it through there. So I've already got the 1 banana in the bowl, and we're gonna start by mashing our bananas. And there's no big trick to that, so we just want to peel these. Avoid the temptation to snack on them because we need all 3 of them. The tops of these just pop right off. Alright, and I find the best way to mash these up is just with a regular old potato masher. Mine happens to look like that. And it just takes a second here. Just kind of going to work these into a paste. And that's why using ripe bananas makes this a lot easier. If you're using unripened bananas that are still green, this is going to be a little tougher. Plus these are going to be a little sweeter. The older they get, the sugars inside break down, makes them a little sweeter. And there you go. We just have our mushed up bananas now. And for now, we're going to set those aside. And we're going to work on our dry ingredients. And for that, we're going to start off with 2 cups of flour. And I know hardcore bakers out there, they're going to freak out because they like to weigh their flour. But the recipe that I got this from didn't weigh it, it just measured it in cups, so that's the way we're going to do it. And it's a little light. There we go, 2 cups of flour. We're going to need 1 teaspoon of salt. 1 teaspoon of baking soda. 1 teaspoon of baking powder. And originally at this point that's all the recipe called for. But like I say, I'm going to add this Chinese 5-spice. And it just adds a little something, but it's real strong, so I don't really want to measure a whole teaspoon. Maybe about half of one. About like that. And we'll just sprinkle that in there. And don't worry, you're going to smell this, and it smells really good too. Now, if you have a sifter, you could sift this all together. I don't have one, so we're just going to use a whisk, and we're just going to whisk this all together, try to get any lumps and make sure everything's mixed up and evenly distributed in there. go. And then just like the bananas, we're going to set that aside. And now for our other bowl. Now we've got our softened butter. And to that, we need to add 1 cup of just regular white sugar. And then I'm just going to use a spatula here, and we're just going to mix that together until we're going to end up with like a little creamy paste here. Now if your butter's not softened, this is going to take you quite a while. Or if you forgot to lay it out ahead of time or you didn't have time, you could always put it in the microwave. And then you just want to work this until it all comes together and you can't tell one from another. All right, about like that. That'll work. Now, what we do quite a bit. Now we're going to get our bananas back. And now we're going to add our sugar butter to the bananas. We don't need our masher anymore. Right, now we're just going to combine the bananas with the butter and the sugar. And it's not going to look very pleasant, and you're going to wonder what the heck is going on, like you screwed something up or something went bad, but that's just the way it looks. And we're just going to mix it the best we can. Alright, and then it's going to look kind of like that. Not very great, but that's what it's going to look like. And to that, we're going to add our 2 eggs, add them one at a time. Then you want to mix that until you can't see the egg in there anymore. Okay, so there's 1 egg in. Now I add the second one. And repeat. Anyway, there's egg number 2. Now we just want to add about a teaspoon of vanilla. Don't forget to shake it up. About like that. And we're going to add a splash of milk. There we go. Mix that in there. Now at this point you can stop and you'll have just perfectly fine banana bread. Or if you want to put some add-ons in there, like I'm going to do, I'm going to add some chocolate chips. And these are just semi-sweet morsels. You don't want a lot. You just want to give a little hint of chocolate in your bread. You don't want a chocolate loaf. You still want it to be banana bread. And at this point you could also add, if you would happen to have some like walnuts or any other kind of nuts you wanted to add, this would be the time to do it. I'm just going to go with chocolate chips on this today. Alright, so there it is. So once that's mixed up, now we're just going to start to add our dry ingredients to that and combine it all together. And you don't want to overdo it, you just want to combine them until you don't see any loose flour anymore. Make sure you keep those sides scraped down. Try to keep it all in the bowl. Try not to get your flour poofed all over the kitchen. And don't forget to scrape the bottom, get all that flour out of there. No one wants to bite into banana bread and get a mouthful of raw flour. That's kind of gross. Alright, so there we go. I don't see any more loose flour or dry flour in there. So we're good to go there. Now I've got a loaf pan here. We're gonna oil it down. And just pour our batter in. Man, it smells good. And then just even it out. And if you have any chocolate chips, I try to poke them down in there so they don't melt and have a big chocolatey mess on top when you take it out. Kind of like that. Don't tell me when you touched it. Alright, give it a little shake. Alright, I don't see any air bubbles in there, so now we're going to put this in the oven. And today I am going to cook this inside. I know a lot of times I put this on the smoker, and I think everything we've seen on this channel so far I've made in the smoker. But today I'm going to just put this in the oven. I've got it preheated to 325. Now the person that I got this recipe from said to cook it at 325 for an hour and 10 minutes. For me, I find that's not long enough with this stove. I usually have to go about an hour and 25 minutes. But I'll set my alarm for an hour and 10. I'll check it with a toothpick, and then I'll keep checking it every 5 minutes or so after that until the toothpick comes out clean. So I'll put this in the oven, and when it's ready, I'll bring you back and show you. All right, it's been an hour and 10 minutes. I'm pretty sure this isn't done, but let's take a look. Yeah, I can tell by looking it's not ready, but just in case you've never baked anything or never made banana bread or whatever, I'll show you. Now, even though it looks done and golden brown around the edge, I can still see in the middle. I can tell by looking that it's still gooey. But you put a toothpick in there and there you can see the batter all over it. So I'm going to put this back in, and then I'll bring you guys back when it's completely done, and I'll tell you how long it took for this particular one to be finished. We'll bring you right back. All right, that should do it. Let's see what we got. That looks better. Toothpick comes out nice and clean, nothing on it. It doesn't feel mushy, so we're good there. Now we'll let it cool down, and we'll bring it back when it's time to eat. Okay, so after a little cool down time, I put mine on one of these little racks here and let it cool down a little bit. And there we have it. There's our banana bread. Now, for the good part. There you go, and you can see the chocolate chips that are in there. It's falling apart. I think I should let it cool a little bit more. Very banana-y. You can pick up that 5 spice that's in there just a little bit. It just adds a little something. No one's going to taste that and say, hey, what'd you put in there? That tastes funny. But it's in there. You can taste it. So there you go, banana bread with secret ingredient. So give it a try. It's super good. We'll see you on the next one.